So Alchemist, because it's pretty short. Probably fly through this thing,
Absolutely. Um,
considering it's all great and it's only 8 minutes, including instrumentals.
this is one of those albums or short albums, EPs or whatever. That's so good, so right on the money what I wanted that it
Right.
leaves me with very little to say past like, yeah, this shit goes hard. So the one thought I do have about it, just a positive thing to say about it. All right, he went. Let's see, we got seven for seven on features, 8 if you count
Yeah.
Earl twice. All right, when I looked at this and I saw, obviously we heard this already, Earl and Navy Blue, and not just Earl and Navy Blue, but Earl and Navy Blue trading bars. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then Boldy James and Sideshow, who we've talked about on this podcast before, who's like a low key name. Like, yo, okay, there we go. 4 for 4 here. Pink Sifu and Maxo, collaboration there. 6 for 6 right there. And then Earl coming back again. So, it was cool to hear Earl on that beat. But yeah, in terms of like the features, man, Alchemist just does such a great job of giving me stuff that I really, really want. Sometimes I knew I wanted it. Sometimes he just presents something to me and I go, damn, didn't know I needed that. That was amazing. Like,
Right.
I still think it's crazy that he got Freddie Gibbs and Currency to do an album together and like put it out, and it was a whole thing. So that's kind of his strength. His what ifs are pretty awesome. But we already heard Earl Sweatshirt, Navy Blue track. So maybe besides those, do you got a track that is your favorite amongst like the other three, or just on
I
the project
don't.
as a whole?
Honestly, I think every track on this is like a 10. Like I wish I wish it wasn't 8 minutes,
Oh
because
yeah,
I wish it was 25 minutes.
yeah.
That would be an easy album of the year for me. Like
When he
if it was
announced this,
25 minutes,
I thought it was gonna be a whole project.
I thought so too. I saw 8 tracks. I didn't realize that it's instrumentals included,
This is
and so I was like,
totally
"Oh fuck!"
right. 8 tracks would have been perfect.
Would
You're
have been
right.
great.
You're
And
right.
I probably like I really genuinely think one, I think it would have been of the same quality. All 8 tracks would have been of the same quality as those four. And two, if they were in fact of that quality, this would be a pretty damn near a 10 for me as far as an album goes.
Right. If it
Because
was a
like,
longer whole album.
yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to choose like one that I thought was probably my favorite of the 4 tracks, I I was about to say Pink Sifu and Maxo, but then I remembered the rest of it, and it's all like I love it all.
It's the whole thing, dude.
I would probably say that's my favorite, just because I think that I kind of know essentially what I could get out of Earl Sweatshirt and Boldy James on an Alchemist beat, considering we've heard a lot of those already. We've
Yeah.
heard a lot of that collaboration. But Pink Sifu and Maxo and the Alchemist is just like not something that I am surprised is really good, but just like it's so good. Like
The way it comes.
I
The way it
ran
comes
that
through.
song back like 3 times in a row because I just thought it was perfect. All three of their performances perfect.
It's cool.
And
He
I
gets.
honestly, Maxo was probably out of everybody on this, including Sideshow. I think Max was probably the least like I've listened to the least out of all these guys. Because Sideshow with the Farley stuff and the Ginger Shot
He just doesn't have a lot of
little
music out
EPs,
right
like I
now.
ran those back a lot last year. Maxo, I didn't listen to that much. I know there was that one project that Nth was like really into, from 2019, I think. But other than that, I'm not super familiar. But
Oh, you
man, that
mean
dude can
Little Big
fucking
Man?
spit.
The
Yeah, Little Big Man.
yeah.
This dude can spit, and Pink Sifu obviously. Like I'm on like he's having a pretty great year.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean,
so I don't know, man.
The
Yeah,
Alchemist
this is one
and
of those quick reviews because I'm just like, this shit is fucking great. I don't know what else to say.
yeah, some albums just hit I mean, this isn't even an album. This is just 4 songs, but you know, it's one of those things that hits so right that it's just like I don't really know what else to say about it besides this is like giving me everything I want. Like again, literally all the features are to me perfect. Like so I really really enjoy each one of these artists. I love to hear them with Alchemist. I love to hear them working with each other and in the same space, the same breath. So that's all cool. And instrumentally, yeah, this all sounds really really nice. And it just kind of each beat kind of gives you something pretty different. Still very Alchemist though. And yeah, I agree. The actual collaborations make a ton of sense. They have real chemistry. Earl and Navy Blue, like we said, trading off bars, like that's something I would have guessed would sound great. But again, not something I knew I needed until I heard it here. Of course, it's with the Alchemist. Boldy James' Sideshow was dope. I love that beat, and that beat is a total like Boldy James beat. This Pink Sifu and Maxo comes together in that way again, with real chemistry. The beat is really perfect for the two of them, and then you can give Earl pretty much anything, and he'll go for it. So Loose Change is kind of what that feels like. And yeah, it's too short. It's entirely too short, man. I mean, you know, I just have to put it on and then listen to the instrumentals too, you know, just to make it almost feel like a real project, length of a project. But side note, you know, we haven't talked about Navy Blue, A Song of Sage, maybe in 1-2 episodes, so I'll bring it up again. The Maxo feature there on that album and that song has like consistently grown on me from the start, and is one of my favorites. So that Maxo album was not the best thing in the world, though it had some incredible songs. But a lot of times when I hear Maxo on something else, and the more I've been hearing him as of late, he's been killing shit. So I, you know, always welcome another Maxo project out.
Oh, and actually, I didn't realize that Pink Sifu actually is on Little Big Man at the end. So they do it. Yeah, I mean, none of these partnerships on this project are like necessarily surprising or like I would have never seen that coming. Like that makes what? There's no way that worked. Like
like Boldy James and Sideshow really seems to be the only thing that's like maybe new here, hasn't been done before. But yeah, each one of them make a ton of fucking
It's
sense.
like an odd pairing. Like maybe like not something that I would listen to each of those artists and be like, oh, you know, it'd be great. Like put these guys together.
Yeah. But that's what Alchemist thought.
But like it also isn't anything where I'm like, oh, that's especially if you're just like, yeah, the glue behind these two artists is the Alchemist. I'm like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. Like,
right.
Yeah,
I thought this was just kind of everything I expected. You know, I kind of thought, except it being for some reason I thought it would be a longer stretch of a project. But other than that, you know, I knew when we heard the Navy Blue Earl track as the single that, you know, this was gonna be what it was. So yeah, more akin to like the Bread EP from a while ago.
Yeah,
it's got Griselda artists on it, plus, you know, Rock Marcy, Black Thought, Earl with E. coli there. This is kind of like a version of that. You know, 4 songs, then the 4 instrumentals of those songs that follow. And yeah, I mean, I can't say enough. Look at the fucking projects that this man has produced. Haram. Okay, we already said what needed to be said about that earlier this year. Alfredo. Now, I wasn't like as crazy about it as some is, but fucking Grammy nominated. All right, and a really good record. You know, a couple Action Bronson records as of late. Oh, goddamn. Boldy James.
Yeah, Teapot
in China. I mean, this man has just been going crazy, like all over us for the past 3 years.
Bread,
Lulu,
Fetti.
Conway. I mean, yo.
You got the Fetti project. You got this shit, which I haven't even heard. I mean, I'm sure I've heard tracks off the Good Book Volume 2 that has like Budgie all over it and like Makami and
See, no, I
crazy.
haven't even heard that shit.
I don't know if this is like a Budgie and Alchemist collaboration project or something, but it's got like
Budgie's on every
everywhere.
Song. Budgie's on every song. Budgie with Royce the 5'9", Budgie with Conway Westside Gun, Budgie with Makami, Budgie with Mayhem Loren, Budgie with Mobb Deep.
Your old Droog.
Wow.
Chuck English.
Wow.
And then you go down to 2016, you got the Havoc record they did. And then all of his rappers' best friend projects that are just like instrumental tapes that are some of the best instrumentals you'll ever hear.
Right.
I mean, like he has to be, he's got to be like considered, at least in the conversation by this point. At least definitely of like the 2010s. Like he is.
Yes.
Probably the best of the 2010s, because he's going all the way back to like fucking the first Infantry album, which actually I remember some of these songs are crazy. The Devin the Dude song is amazing.
You know, I've actually
Prodigy and
never
Nas song is really good.
But yeah, you're right. These are pretty crazy. T.I., Prodigy, Be Real, Devin the Dude, Dilated Peoples. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I do think he has an amazing catalog, and I think it kind of goes overlooked. You're right.
And that's just his like his stuff that he's put out under his own shit. Like you're not even talking about like stuff he's produced on other people's albums. It's not like as a collaborator.
Yep, that's crazy too.
He's got amazing tracks on people's projects.
We've had this conversation a couple times, like just kind of marveling at like, damn, he did this and he did that and he was here and he was there and this is nuts. So,
I mean, we had
the Trent's Tourneys.
That was
all
just
Alchemist collaborations. Yeah, like it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
I also am a big fan of, and this doesn't get talked about a lot. It's not on streaming. Covert Coup,
right?
Alchemist and Currency 2012, which that has a Freddie Gibbs feature on it too, and so it's not like these three haven't come together, but it was just crazy to hear them do an album. Right. We didn't even talk about Fetti is in here.
Right.
And then the Yacht Rock 2 shit that has a lot of great features there. It's just crazy. It's super, super crazy in it. And when you think about where hip hop is really like moving right now, like he's working with really, really influential factors in that. Griselda, Earl, really like kind of that sphere of Earl, Billy Woods.
I mean, he just did the remix on the Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats shit. He had a remix on that.
Yep, got his own song.
And that's the thing about Alchemist is he's working with all these, underground guys that we talk about all the time on the pod. But he's also like popping up on like the Nas album and like some other random shit.
Anderson.Paak.
Denzel Curry. Yeah, Anderson.Paak shit.
Single, like, Anderson.Paak's single. R&B.
Right.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredibly talented dude. We always really enjoy talking about Alchemist on this podcast, evidently, because every time we do it, we tend to get into this conversation. Like I said,
right.
I'm just like, yo, man, like, remember when he did this and that? And he totally deserves it, man. His career has been nuts on top of being on TV and just, like everything and now Grammy nominated again, just like the profile of the Alchemist has grown so much further beyond what I ever probably thought it would too. Like he was a really, really just underground dude for such a long time, but that isn't now really turning into something a lot different. And it's not overnight, but it's kind of happened kind of quickly, like exponentially,